السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Okay, I think we can start maybe. I'll start sharing my screen so we can see the books as I'll be talking, inshallah. Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good morning everyone. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala al-mabu'uthi rahmatan lil alamin, Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. اللهم افتح لنا فتوح العارفين ويسر لنا أمرنا واحلل عقدة لساننا. Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, today we will start with a new book reading, which is the book of Ustad ABDUL HAMID ABUSULAYMAN. Before we start, we can start our meeting with Surah Al-Fatiha. Okay, so inshallah, today it will be a new book published by Ma'had al-Alami lil-Fikr al-Islami. The reading will be in both Arabic and English. I'll focus more on Arabic, okay? But after I speak a little bit in Arabic, I'll summarize in English. Hopefully that will be okay with everyone. As the book is translated to these two languages, I hope it will be easy to follow up, even if I'm speaking in a language you don't understand it. Okay, so the book, Azmatul Aql al-Muslim, or in English it is Crisis in the Muslim Mind, was published or written in 1991. At that time, it was a very critical time after the Soviet Union collapse. So that was one of the motivation why to write this book, and how to fix our problem, make sure that we will not fall as victims for some mentality, and we don't follow the other nations' mistakes. And the book started with two introductions, one of them by Ustad Dr. Taha Jabir al-Alwani from IIIT also, and the other one is by the author himself, Abdul Hamid Abusulaymān. So we'll come to the index later, but as at the beginning, the introduction given by Ustad Taha Jabir al-Alwani, he was talking about the idea that the Muslim nation is passing through very hard and struggling very hard time. تحدث الأستاذ عن أن الأمة المسلمة كانت تمر في تلك الفترة في فترة كتابة هذا الكتاب، في فترة صعبة جدا، تمزق وتفكك وضياع الهوية، انهيار المؤسسات، وعجز عن الخروج من حالة التنبه التي تردى فيها. وهو أيضا تحدث عن ضرورة التغيير بعد أن ذاقت الأمة الاستبداد والإخضاع لتجارب أجنبية ومحاولة تطبيقها قسرا على مدى قرنين من الزمان، حيث صارت الأمة تشعر بأن ثم مشكلة تواجهها خاصة بعد لقائها مع الحضارة الغربية في أكثر من دولة، إما بسبب الاحتلال أو بسبب الاختلاط أو فرض الحضارة الغربية على تلك البلاد. حاولت هذه الفترة أن تقلد تجارب آخرين في السياسة والحكم والثقافة والإدارة والآداب والاجتماع والعلوم والفنون، ولكنها لم تصل إلى نتيجة في النهاية، بل وجدت نفسها كمن يدور في مكانه، والفجوة تتسع والمشكلة تكبر أكثر. فهذا يعني أن قيادة الأمة لم تجد المشكلة الحقيقية التي يجب أن تنطلق منها عملية التغيير، والنقطة الصحيحة التي كان يجب الانطلاق منها كانت هي الفكر، لأنه هو المقدمة الطبيعية لأي عمل كان صحيحا أو خاطئا. So he's talking about the very weak situation of the Muslim Ummah during that time, 1990s, the beginning of 1990s, and how it was struggling after two centuries of occupation and surrendering to the Western nations. And because of that, because some of the countries start mixing with these Western, mixing and dealing with this Western civilization, either in Egypt or in Turkey, because of the occupation or because of the Westernization movement there, the people start realizing that we are in trouble. And because of that trouble, we have to fix it. We have to find a way to fix it. But the problem for many, many decades, they try just to copy the other nations' experience and try to do what others are doing. The same methodology, following them in politics, culture, management, literature, all kind of sciences and arts. But the problem, we found the Muslim nation found itself in its place, and actually the problem became bigger and bigger. That's why the writer here is suggesting that the leaders of this ummah couldn't find the right point to start their changes, start their revolution, we can say, in order to correct the path of the ummah. And he believed that the right point to start to change our situation, our ummah, and the weakness we are in should start from the ideology. We have to start talking about how the thoughts, the ideologies should be correct first, and then everything will come after that. If we don't start with that, it will be a problem, because as some of the other scholars say, like Malik bin Nabi, in his book, he said, what's missing for Muslim is not the idea or the thought to start with, but the problem is how to turn this ideology to a work and movement. The problem with Muslims, according to Malik bin Nabi, is he's not thinking to do, but he is thinking just to. He's just thinking to say something nice. That's it. So no real actions will be done after thinking. So that's the idea of this book. We need to think for the right purpose. We have to find the right ideology, the right thoughts, the right start to change this path. And if we find it, we will be able to take the whole ummah out of this weakness we are in. So الكاتب ثم بعد ذلك يذكر أن الإسلام هو الذي شكل الأمة الإسلامية الفكر الأساسي الصحيح. في البداية الفكر موجود، الفكر الإسلامي، وعملية التغيير المطلوبة يجب قبل كل شيء أن تكون عملية فكرية وتقوم على أساس الإسلام. فهو الإسلام هو الذي من خلال عقائده وقيمه وضوابطه وأخلاقياته يكون هو المصدر هذه عملية التغيير المطلوبة. مصطلح الفكر الإسلامي مصطلح عام يتفاوت في فهمه الناس، وهذه أيضا من النقاط التي تحتاج إلى ضبط للتأكد من أن الأمة جميعها تتحرك بنفس الفكر الإسلامي، أن لا يكون هناك اختلاف حتى في هذا المصطلح ذاته. فلا بد من تغيير الفكر، ولابد أن يكون هناك منهج واضح تحديد، وهناك قواعد السير عليها، وحتى تكون النهاية واحدة للجميع، موحدة وواضحة للجميع. فهذا هو الهدف من الكتاب. فمثلا مالك بن نبي يقول في كتاب شروط النهضة: من سنن الله في خلقه أنه عندما تغرب الفكرة يبزغ الصنم. فمن ضمن مشاكل هذه الأمة هذه الأيام أن هناك أصنام كثيرة يتبعها كل فئة من فئات الأمة. So after mentioning that we have to start with the ideology, the writer here, Ustad Taha Jabal al-Alwani, he mentioned that we know that for this ummah, the main ideology is our religion, is the Islam. So we have to make sure that the Islamic mind and Islam is the base of the change we want to do. So we have to follow its aqidah, values, limitations, morals. All these should be the source of this change we want to do to empower our ummah. And one thing he's mentioning, we have to make sure that the idea of the Islamic ideology, the Islamization, for example, it should be clear for all Muslim mind. Islamic thoughts or methodology, it's a term. Until now, Muslims are having different explanation for it, a different way of thinking about it. We need to have a specific methodology. We need to have some rules to follow. We need to understand what do we mean by Islamic thoughts. And after that, we will make sure that everyone will follow the same path to reach to the same goal, which is the revival of our ummah. So the book يبدأ الكتاب بالحديث عن منهج التقليدي للفكر الإسلامي لينقذه ويقومه، ويؤكد في مقدمته، في مقدمة الأستاذ عبد الحميد أبو سليمان، أنه لا يرغب بالتقليل من أي جهود قام بها علماء المسلمين أو أي شخص يريد الخير لهذه الأمة. الفكرة فقط هو تصحيح المسار، ولا يريد انتقاد، ويقدر الجهود التي بذلت، مع ملاحظة أن هناك أسباب لكل منهج وفكر. هناك بيئة ظهرت فيها الأفكار هذه المختلفة، أو حتى التغييرات التي حدثت للفكر الإسلامي والانحرافات بحسب قوله لها أسبابها. فهو يريد أن يصحح المسار. بعد أن تحدث عن المنهج التقليدي للفكر الإسلامي، تحدث عن قواعد والأسس المنهجية للفكر الإسلامي، لنتأكد بأن المصادر والمنطلقات أساسية. فهو من أين نستمد هذا الفكر الإسلامي؟ هذه النقطة التي تحدث عنها ثانياً. بعدها انتقل إلى موضوع كيفية أداء هذه المنهجية، وكيف يجب أن تكون شاملة من ناحية الفكرة ومن ناحية الوسائل أيضاً التي تتبعها. وثم يمضي في الحديث إلى المنهج الإسلامي والعلوم بشكل عام، وهو من المواضيع التي ركز عليها كثيراً الأستاذ عبد الحميد أبو سليمان، فكرة كيف ننقل هذه الأفكار المجردة إلى مناهج تعليمية يتربى عليها الطلاب، وبحسب ما قام به في فكرة الجامعة الإسلامية العالمية في ماليزيا حينما بدأوها هنا. بعد بدايتها وجد أن من الأفضل أن تكون إسلامية المعرفة تبدأ منذ الطفولة، فأسست المدرسة الإسلامية العالمية أيضاً، ليكون البناء منذ الصغر أفضل من أن يبدأ في مرحلة جامعية. فهو ركز كثيراً، وربما تحدثنا عن هذا في كتاب في السلسلة الماضية، كتاب النظرة الكونية القرآنية، وهو كيف أن نتحول الإسلاميك وورد فيو، النظرة الكونية، إلى مناهج تعليمية. فهذه سيحدد لها فصل كامل في هذا الكتاب. بعدها سيتحول إلى بعض الأمثلة في قضايا العلوم الاجتماعية والإنسانية والإسلامية، وأيضاً هذا من تحت منظور إسلامية المعرفة، وكيف يمكن للمؤسسات العلمية أن تخدم إسلامية المعرفة. ثم ينتهي الكتاب في الحديث عن موضوعين هما الإسلام والمستقبل، وأيضاً مستقبل مسيرة الإنسانية جميعاً. كيف أن الإنسانية الآن في مرحلة تعاني كثيراً من مستقبلها خطر جداً، خاصة مع ما يسمى بالأفكار المادية البحتة بدون الأفكار الروحية أو الأديان والمبادئ المبادئ الدينية التي تحدد الضوابط للإنسان، فيكون هذا هو نهاية هذا الكتاب. So this book, inshallah, it will start about the traditional Islamic thoughts, which is, according to the author, it is the one causing us to stop from moving as fast as the other nations moving. And this is one of the reasons why this ummah is weak. He doesn't want to just criticize. He mentioned in the other introduction that he appreciates all the efforts done by all the Muslim scholars, all the Muslim thinkers, and so on. But he believe that there is some of them, they are not following the right path. We need to correct how the current Islamic curriculum, also Islamic curriculum in the educational institutes, how it should be corrected to make sure that we will go to the right path. After that, he will start talking about the methodology for Islamic thought, what will be the resources, from where it should start, what should be the objectives, and following, it will followed by another chapter talking about the comprehensiveness of this idea, the Islamic thoughts, and how the comprehensiveness should be also in the methods and the tools we should follow in order to achieve that Islamic thoughts goal. At the end, he will talk about the Islamic methodology and talk about the scientific fields as well, because we mentioned before, for Ustad Abdul Hamid Abusulaiman, he believed that we can have the right idea, but we don't know how to insert it, let's say, in the brain and the actions of the Muslim youth. And that's why he was one of those established the Islamic International Islamic University here in Malaysia, IIUM, in order to turn these Islamic thoughts to curriculums, to Islamization of knowledge in different fields, not only the Islamic, not only a kulliyah of IRK, we have different kulliyahs in IIUM. But then he mentioned that in the introduction of the other book, he mentioned that after they established IIUM, they found that it will be too late to start with the youth to talk about Islamic methodology or Islam as a way of life. It will be too late if they reach the university level with all different ideologies inserted, or they were grown on from different educational institutes. That's why he decided to establish IIS, International Islamic School, to be a prototype of how education should be in the Islamic countries, to make sure that from the young age, all the people will have the same understanding of how Islam can be the way of life, how Islam can motivate the youth and can change the whole world, actually. So he talked about that, and he would talk also in this book about different matters in human science, in social science, Islamic topics, and all this Islamization of knowledge. The end of this book, he would talk about Islam and the future, and he would talk about the future of the humanities, because he will explain throughout the book that humanity is in a big crisis now. And as I mentioned, the book was written in 1991, where the Soviet Union collapsed, and it was clear that these Western ideologies are taking the humanity to a very dark place. So he was, the main purpose of this book is to encourage people, Muslim to to put Islam as the solution for all the humanity. So that's simply the introduction of Taha Jabir al-Alwani. But he mentioned a few things that was so special about this book, that the author here, he focused on the main idea. He tried to avoid the small parts, and he doesn't want to talk about some of the details. He wants to talk about the general idea more than small technicalities or small specialized matters. There are too many other books written about this topic, the how to fix the crisis of the Muslim brain or the Muslim mind. For me, I found, or I read some of them, some of these books, all of them actually are talking about the same idea, that we have a big crisis in the way we are thinking and the way how we read and understand Islam, and we need to fix that problem. We need to fix the Muslim brain. If that's fixed, all the other problems will be fixed later. There are books like okay, all of them are in Arabic. Unfortunately, I read Arabic more than English. So I'll mention the book. هناك كتب كثيرة كتبت حول قضية الأزمة الفكرية وتكوين العقل العربي، مثل كتاب حول تشكيل العقل المسلم للأستاذ عماد الدين خليل، أصول تشكيل العقل المسلم عماد الدين خليل أيضا، العقل المسلم والرؤية الحضارية لنفس الكاتب، حول إعادة تشكيل العقل المسلم كتاب آخر. الكاتب عماد الدين خليل كان يركز على هذا الموضوع، على موضوع أيضا الفلسفة التاريخية الإسلامية، فكتبه تعتمد على هذه المواضيع. هناك كتاب نقد العقل المسلم الأزمة والخروج لعبد الحليم أبو شقة، في كتاب العقل المسلم في مرحلة الصراع الفكري عبد الحميد عويس، مشكلة الأفكار في العالم الإسلامي مالك بن نبي، this is a famous one. And هناك كتب تنتقد بعض الأفكار المعاصرة مثل المذاهب الفكرية المعاصرة للأستاذ محمد قطب. هناك كتب كثيرة غيرها، لكن هذا ما تذكرته أثناء الإعداد لهذه الجلسة. So the books in English, I don't have many of them, but many of the Arab books are translated. Maybe if anyone interested, next time I can bring some titles in English. But in general, all of them are talking about the same idea. So the point here is all of them are caring about the dawah for the Islam and what are the problems of this ummah, how to fix it, how to try to fix the problems and push everyone to work for this nation. That's the introduction for this book by Dr. Taha Jabir al-Alwani. He was the president of IIIT in 1993. And last time we were, when we talked about introduction of the Quranic worldview book, we talked about we said that Dr. Abdul Hamid Abusulayman, also he was the president of IIIT for some time in 1980s. And after that, when he couldn't write the book at that time, 1984, he said he started collecting all these thoughts in some articles from 1984. But because he was busy with IIIT, he couldn't write it until 1991. So now this is the introduction written by the author himself, talking about this book and why he wrote this book. The introduction was written in Arabic, and I believe it's the same as the one in English. The translation is very good. It's exactly the same as the Arabic one. And the interesting thing also with this translation is that they're so precise. Whenever the page ends here, it will end here. in the Arabic version and in the English one, which make it easy to read both books at the same time. So he's saying that the main topic of this book is the Muslim Ummah. He was worried about it. He started thinking about this Ummah and all the troubles it's facing. When he was a student sitting and studying in the school in Mecca, because he's from Saudi and he was studying there, he said, from that time I started reading books and thinking about the history of this Ummah, how it was, all the struggles it went through, all the great days it was living in, and how he was thinking that that history compared to what we have now is a very painful, it's give very painful feeling, because we are not supposed to be in this situation now. And he said after reading about all this, he started reading, of course, because of life and the experience and the knowledge he got, he starts seeing more and more troubles, bad situations, some bad events happening in this ummah, and that caused him, or that pushed him to ask why we keep having these kind of troubles, why we are far from what we're supposed to be. And that's the reason when he started thinking about the problems of this ummah, what could be the main issue, why we are left behind. And by time he started studying both the modern science and the Islamic knowledge, both of them together. He was studying on different paths. And because of that, he started thinking that it's not a matter of talking only about the problem, but we have to fix it. We have to think about the tools to fix these issues. And by time he moved from one idea at the beginning, he was thinking about the political solution, the economic solution, and then by time he reached out that our education having a problem, education system is having a problem. Later, he found out that no, it's not only the education, it's the main ideology. What are we trying to do? So this book is trying to talk about the thing we missed when we talk about our civilization, Muslim civilization, why we are here now, why we are left behind. But he said, even talking about all the negativity in our present, he will never forget that in the bottom of this ummah, there are a lot of goodness, there are a lot of energy, there are a lot of iman, ikhlas, there are a lot of people trying to fix the problem and trying to remove all the struggling of the weak people and trying to help each other. So it's not saying that the ummah is in a bad situation only. No, he admit that there are a lot of good things still there in this ummah, and the leadership, in the youth, the scholars, all this, he admit they are there, but what he's trying to see as a collective minds, why we are not reaching to the goal. Okay, so the idea he's saying also is very important. He said, I would be happy if this book will start some negotiation and some discussions between the Muslims. If this one will start people talking about it, even if the end of the conversation is not exactly what he ended with, what he found at the end, or what he think the solution would be, he will be happy that at least he started this conversation. So the idea here, maybe the ideas we find in the book, maybe is not 100% correct, but he will be happy at least to start talking about it. We have problems we need to fix. So again, he repeats that he's not trying also to underestimate all the efforts done by any part of this ummah or scholars. He knows that a lot of them did great things. They have iman, ikhlas, they did jihad, and they did all they can do to help the nation. But he's just looking at what will be the final result. He believed that we missed something. That's why we couldn't, as he said a lot, as we are left behind. Okay. So this book, at the beginning, he's here explaining, I think in Arabic he explained more than in the English one, in the English copy. Sure. Okay. He's saying that at the beginning he started this book as some articles written and some of the speeches he gave in different occasions. Since he was a student studying in university, and he said it's not he's not planning to put all the articles. He just tried to put them all together and write a draft of one book. However, when he became the president of IIIT in USA, 1984, he couldn't finish that draft or finish the book. He got busy with different things, too many different things in different places. But throughout his work in there, he started meeting, he went to many countries, he talked to many people, and from there, he was sure that whatever his hypothesis in this book is correct, and it's important also to discuss. So after that, when he got free to finish the book, he wrote it, but the time was the right time also to publish the book in 1991. And that time, let's see if it's here. Okay, at that time, there was not only the fights and wars in Muslim Ummah, not only that, but another very big event happened, which is the collapse of the Soviet Union, and how fast that collapse happened, which was somehow shocking for some people. So this thing, he said, this kind of events is very important for the Muslim nation and Muslim civilization to understand why those civilization collapsed, what happened, what was the issue, why their ideology was the main reason for this collapse. We need to understand also that the Marx movement, it was a Western movement, even if the West pretend that they are. The Western media always criticize the Marx revolution, but at the end, it's a result of the Western civilization. This ideology is trying to correct some strange ideas in the Western thoughts. And Marx was one of the Western philosophers, and he tried to correct the path. So the idea is the main or the core ideas is coming from the Western civilization. Western civilization came affected by the Islamic civilization after they met them during the Crusaders wars and also in Andalus. And after they met and get affected by the Islamic civilization, they found that the Christianity they have during that time was so corrupted. They have a lot of wrong ideas. They are fighting knowledge and science. So they decided simply to stop religion or keep the religion inside the church, as they say, far away from the social life. And for them, they believe that's how the civilization can build without a religion. And Marx, they just came and tried to correct that one by removing even the church should not be controlling anything. It is a materialistic, a pure materialistic ideology. So for them, for the Western people, and unfortunately most of the Muslims nowadays, they look at if the ideology is correct or not, not from the correctness of its philosophy, morals, values. No, they measure the correctness of any ideology from the success of that ideology to in the materialistic life. Malik bin Nabi mentioned in Malik bin Nabi قال مالك النبي في كتابه مشكلة الأفكار في العالم الإسلامي: في منطق هذا العصر لا يكون إثبات صحة الأفكار بالمستوى الفلسفي أو الأخلاقي بل بالمستوى العملي، فالأفكار صحيحة إذا ضمنت النجاح. So since as I said, they were affected, the Western civilization was affected by the Islamic civilization. However, it's very important to remember that they are not the same. What happened in the Western civilization, they based their civilization on completely materialistic purposes. The goal is all economical growth, materialistic goals, and so on. While the Muslim nation, when it started in the history and until now, it is, we have, of course, at that time, we have also civilization, we have knowledge, we were real representation of Khalifa al-Ard or Khalifatullah al-Ard, but that one is not enough for to say that the Muslim nation is really great and the Muslim civilization is a good one. Because what was so special about the Muslim civilization is the values it was built upon. If we don't have those values, which were brought to us by Islam, and we learned it from the Quran and the Prophet ﷺ, that kind of values we had, was so special about the Islamic civilization. محمد قطب قال في أحد كتبه: إن ما تقوم به أوروبا اليوم ليس هو الذي قامت به الأمة الإسلامية الأولى ولا قريبا منه، وإن اختلطت بعض أجزاء الصورة في بعض الأذهان. إن الذي قامت به الأمة الإسلامية الأولى لم يكن مجرد التوسع والفتح والغلبة والسلطان، ولا مجرد إقامة حركة علمية أو حركة حضارية أو عمارة مادية للأرض، فهذا كله من العطاء الرباني الذي يمنحه الله للكفار وللمؤمنين سواء. قول الله عز وجل: كلا نمد هؤلاء وهؤلاء من عطاء ربك وما كان عطاء ربك محظورا. إنما الذي صنعته الأمة الإسلامية هو إقامة هذه العمارة وهذه الحضارة وهذه القوة الغالبة الساحقة على أساس من القيم والمثل لم تتحقق في صورة واقع عملي سلوكي إلا في تاريخ هذه الأمة الفريدة في التاريخ. So it's only from all the different nations, all the different civilizations, it was only the Muslim civilization having those values, the Islamic values, the Quranic values, that will make it so special. Now, without those values, what happened to the Western nations, we can see it nowadays. They have a gap. They have a big gap. We can see it in their societies, in their relationship with each other and with the others. They are lacking in the spiritual field also. And by time, we can see the results of that gap. So they try to make the intellectual or the brain as their god. They see that the human brain can find all the solutions. But building the civilization only on the brain or the intellectual thinking only, it will cause that civilization to be having the reasons why it will collapse at the end. So Marx's thoughts at the end came as an extreme for that idea of materialistic goals. The human being should remove all the religion, no soul, no revelation, no religion guiding the human in this life. And they are not even thinking about, of course, they are not thinking about the hereafter. Even this life, they don't want the soul to be there, no revelation or anything. So that was the reason. At the end, the Marx ideology collapsed, and even it spread it to for many decades in different places. It ended very fast, and the main reason, as he mentioned here, is the unethical war happened in Afghanistan, and that increased the crisis they had in their own society, political crisis, social, moral, economical crisis, all of them in the Soviet Union, and that's the reason for its fall. So why this book is important at that specific time? Because now it's saying that we see the results of what happened when a human base its civilization, base its ideology on materialistic and economical reasons only. If we don't have souls, if we don't have morals and values, our communities will fall down. So the idea now we need to have some values which we already have as Muslim nation, but we don't know how to, if it's right to say it, how to activate it, how to put it in action. So we have the soul, we have the revelation, we have the true path, but we don't know how to let it move on. So, and then also another thing, we have the guidance even of how to build the right, how to build the nation in the right way, because the Marx ideology, they were thinking about, they had a problem of how the government will manage the economy of the country. How can the government and the society interfere with each other? For Marx, they have the wrong idea caused the collapse of their nation very fast. So their way of the government to control everything, or the other way, the opposite of it, which is what we have in the other Western nation, to leave the individuals do whatever they want. All these things cause more troubles than fixing issues. So in that case, Islam having the balance between what is the role of the individual, the role of the society in different perspective of life. So it will allow the individuals to do and to work and do whatever they want as Khalifa on this earth. At the same time, it will Islam order the whole society to make sure they protect the weak people, to make justice, to make sure everyone would take its rights. So that's the balance ideology we are having that can fix the problem without going toward only the society controlling everything, as we have in some nations now, or the government controlling everything, or individuals they do whatever they want, no control, no rules, no values. So he's ending, I think in the Arabic here he's explaining much more. So that's the idea why he wrote this book. Simply, he said it's not enough to generate ideas, but we have to make sure that it will push the whole society to the whole society to do those ideas. Okay. Okay. After that, he say what happened in 1991, the collapse of the Soviet Union. He said is showing that the crisis of the current civilization is getting more and more, and we can see its effects spreading everywhere. We need to help the humanities actually and cure the problems already having. But to do that, we have to double our efforts to clarify the message of the Islam with all the balance it's having, with all the comprehensiveness. We have to explain to the world how we have the Tawheed, how we have our goal on this earth as Khalifa on the earth for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and following Allah's orders. And also we have to make sure that we can use all the sources of knowledge, which are the revelation, the intellectual, and the fiqh. All these different resources of knowledge should be used. If we don't use them all, we will not have enough resources to move on. So we have to balance between all aspects of a human, the spiritual, moral, materialistic one. And we have to balance between the role of the individual and the society. And this is how we can do our responsibility toward Islam. And this is how we can do our responsibility toward the humanity as well. So that's the main reason why he wrote the book. And that's what he would try to explain here. We need to have the right thoughts and the right mind in order to do all that. He ended with the دعاء اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. So that's the book. That's the introduction. And the book, actually, it's a very interesting one. We can go through it chapter by chapter. But for today, I think I just want to see the the index of it. We see the topics we'll be discussing next time. Because according to him, he's trying to go one by one, explaining in different chapters what will be discussed here regarding crisis of the Muslim mind. Okay. So now we are done with the introductions. In chapter 1, actually, he want to talk about Assalāmu, or what's the term for Assalāmu? Okay, contemporary Islamic Al-Asala Islamiyya. It's the pure Islamic solution, I think. I don't know how to translate this one. Okay, so he said we have to follow Islam, the real Islam, the correct Islam, and it is how we have to fix it. And then he mentioned few things, because he mentioned different solution for our current situation. He said that we have, you can see that, I think it's clearer in the Arabic version of the book. He mentioned 3 different solutions or suggestions, proposals to how can we fix the problem. If we can start from just copying the foreign solutions, or the Western one, we can see what will happen. He will mention different examples of trying the other nations' solutions to fix our problem, and how that will not work. If we try just to import what the other nations did, that will not fix the problem. That's the first chapter. Then he would talk about following the traditional historical way to fix the problem. And this is what he criticized in his book. The traditional way of thinking about Islam is one of the reasons why we are stuck in this weak position we are in. we have to, in other book, how he described it, we have to free our thoughts from all the strange ideas came to our mind, thinking that's our Islam, but it's not our Islam. It is strange thoughts integrated with the Islamic thoughts, causing something very, causing this say jumud. That's the Arabic word for it. Okay, how to we stopped in a position we cannot move anymore. So the solution, the third one he's mentioning, is we have to find the modern Islamic solution that's looking at the history, that's looking at the other nations' solutions, that will look at for our main resources, Quran and Sunnah, and from there we get a modern solution for the problem we are in. So three different solutions. We have to, the whole nation should decide which one will be the one to follow. After that, he started talking about the historical roots of the crisis we are in. And these historical roots, he mentioned them also in the other book, Quranic Worldview. So he talked about the Bedouin and how the crisis at from the Sahaba time, how things changed. And of course, we can discuss it later. Okay, and then how we have a problem, a gap between the intellectual leadership and the political leadership. They are not moving in the same path. Then he would talk about what is the reason of the crisis we are in and how to correct it. He would talk, it's not the aqidah, it is the thoughts. And then he would talk about the main Islamic values that we have to make sure we have them correct. And from there, we can start. We have Tawheed, Rububiyyah, and Uluhiyyah. We have the reasons of a human existence. We have the justice. We have truth, amana, ihsan. We have knowledge. A few things he want to talk about, all related to the Islamic, we can say it's terminology or the Islamic values. We can find them in the Quran, and from there we can start our changes. Later he would talk about the Sunnah and how we can differentiate between the ideology and the tools also. He will stop chapter 2, the whole chapter 2 would talk about traditional methodology and what are the problems with that traditional methodology. Because we know some people, they don't believe that the Muslim mind can have a rule in order to find the solution. They find only the al-wahi or the revelation. Only al-wahi alone is enough to find the solution or to fix the problem we are already in. So he will talk about the traditional method and the problems there. And of course, in there he would say something about freedom of thoughts, freedom of aqidah. Okay. Later, he will go about talking about the Islamic methodology and how we should build the Islamic civilization. Requirement for establishing the Islamic civilization sciences. And this is here, as I said, he tried to make IIUM as a prototype, how the Islamic universities can produce Muslim youth who will build this civilization by time. how the curriculum should be, how the environment should be, all this for him, that IIUM is a practical part of his ideology, how to fix the problem by fixing the educational system. Chapter 5, he would talk about a few things about Islam and the future. Actually, it's chapter 5, sorry, the premises of the social sciences, Islamization of the science of education, Islamization of political science, Islam science and technology. And all these things here in UIA, we can see that we have different kuliya. Each of them, actually, they try to do it in practice. These ideologies he put here, they try to put it in practice here. For example, how the technical kuliya should be from Islamic perspective. We have engineering, KICT, and other kuliyas. We have political science, we have education and Islam, and of course, all the other social science, all of them. Here, the concept is how to make sure that it's not only an idea, but we can do it. And IIUM is an example. They try to build this, change these ideas to something practical. So I think I will stop here to see if anyone want to discuss anything. Anyone having questions? I would really like to hear from your side. So do you have any questions, any comments? I don't want to be the one who's talking alone without hearing from your side. I'm trying to see. You can open your mic if you like, or if you want, you can write in the chat box. I would really like to discuss and hear from your side. And I want also to apologize about the language, talking in two different languages. Sometimes I forgot, I speak everything in English, I forgot the Arabic side. And then I speak Arabic, I forgot the English. But I try to balance between the two languages. Sister Siti Aida, any comments from your side, any questions? Okay, not sure, seems that there's no questions, I'm not sure. Okay, I think for today we can stop at the introduction, because if we start with chapter 1, we will not have time to finish it. So better to just stop. Okay, this is the main idea here of this book. He's saying that the first thing to acknowledge that if we don't do it, we will not reach to the solution. Is the problem. We have to make sure that, why he called it crisis of the Muslim mind, because if our mind is not thinking in the right way, that's a problem. After we have the faith, we know that our Islam really can can solve the problem, then we can go talk about the methodology. And the nice thing about our religion, we have faith, methodology, both of them are integrated together in Islam. You cannot say that our ibadah is only in the masjid. Our ibadah to increase our faith, and also is to push us to do our rules. Our ibadah is not only praying, our ibadah also it is working, doing your job and doing your responsibilities. So the good thing first to start with the faith, make sure that we have it. Automatically, if our faith and we are following the Islam in the right way, methodology will come and it will be easier. But the problem, sometimes people, they don't follow the right methodology. Like they think that, oh, Western people are, they already reached to a very high level of, civilization, materialistic civilization. So if we don't have faith in Islam and our values, that Islam can really fix the problem of the missing soul of the Western civilization, we cannot reach the right methodology. It is an easy task to convince Muslims that we must mix our personal faith for the technical aspects like methodology. Actually, with the current situation we are in, and that's one of the problem actually, and that's why these kind of books are very important. The materialistic Western life now is so attracting to the youth. So attracting. Now you look at the internet and all the technical advancement. It is hard now to tell people that it's okay to be a really good Muslim, to use the technology, to invent the technology and build the civilization without you losing your values. Because unfortunately, our youth nowadays, values are no more a very important thing like what we had previously. Values now to lie, to cheat, to steal. Maybe we don't see it every day, but actually to say this is haram, it will getting more difficult than previously. This is halal, this is haram. Ask about things before you do them. It's not like previously. When we got the internet, for example, now we are open to see what the other people doing. Most of our youth, they are so attracted to that advancement in technology, in the civilization, economical growth and so on. So it is not an easy task. But the thing is, that's the idea, what he said, that it's not enough to talk about this when they are in the university level. It is something from when they are very, very young. We have to say why Islam is not you can be a Muslim and you can be very modern as well, and you cannot lose your values. How to do this balance is the problem, I think. So yeah, hopefully, the idea of raising the kids from very young age on Islam, and the idea that yeah, we can balance between Islam and the modern life, and we can create something much better. This is from very, very young age, and if you build it in your kids from young age, whatever they will see later, it's like, okay, yeah, we can do better. We have our values, and our religion will not prevent us from getting knowledge. Actually, it's the opposite. Our religion is put it as an obligation for every Muslim to gain knowledge, which is an amazing thing compared to the Christian civilization, Christian religion, which was against building the civilization. For them, it's hard to tell them, yeah, you can balance. But our religion is comprehensive. And hopefully there will not be a crisis in that. But again, there are shiny things which are not gold at the end, and people go toward us. So this is the job of all scholars, educators, to help people realize that we don't have a real problem with that. Okay? So what do you think? Have any more ideas? Okay, I think as we are reading in this series, reading this book, we will get more and more questions. Maybe things will be clearer as we talk about them. Sure. Yeah, because he will open some topics. Actually, I'm not 100% agreeing with the author about them. But also he will give some examples of how different people try to follow different methodologies. And those methodologies are not based on Islamic teaching. Where exactly that led them to? What happened to even he would talk about some Islamic banks. He would talk about some universities. He will talk about some social theories and how these are affecting society in general. Unfortunately, in 1991, when the book was written, there was no internet, because internet made things much complicated now. Okay, any more questions, any comments? Or we can end up today, and inshallah we can meet next week. وأعتذر إذا كان أحد يسمع باللغة العربية. أظن أن الحوار أصبح بالإنجليزية بدون أن ننتبه. إن شاء الله نلتقي في الموعد القادم. نحدده إن شاء الله، ربما يكون الأسبوع الجمعة الثانية من كل أسبوع من كل شهر، ولكن أتأكد إن شاء الله من سنتريس إذا كان هذا الموعد يناسبهم إن شاء الله. I think that's all. Thank you very much. جزاكم الله خير. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us and to help us to benefit any individual from this ummah. We can end our session with the Tasbih al-Kaffara and Surah al-Asr, and inshallah I see you next month. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا. See you إن شاء الله soon. السلام عليكم. You're welcome. السلام عليكم.